Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Comic Boy Show. I am joined in week 3 of replacing my co-host with people who know more about movies and stuff than him. Um, and I'm joined not only by one person but two people who both know more about movies than him. And I kid. This is all in good fun. But yeah, I'm
Hearsay.
joined exactly. He's off enjoying his vacation time, so I'll let him do that, and I
Please.
will I will continue to roast him while he is there. So, do you want to introduce yourselves? Give everyone where they can find you, all that stuff.
Sure. My name is Angela, and we are from the Screen Sisters. You can find us on Twitter at Screen Sisters underscore primarily. We have a YouTube page that we haven't posted on in almost a year now, also at Screen Sisters. And there is a SoundCloud, which also hasn't been updated in some time, also at Screen Sisters.
Yeah. Yeah. We need to get our life together.
Maybe this will inspire you to like have a resurgence.
Yeah.
Probably. I'm Stephanie. I am the other half of Screen Sisters. I do most of the social media for us, but I am also, like I said, slacking. So that's it.
You guys are gonna have to follow up tasks, so because this would be next week and he was today, or he's on the episode today. So
Oh,
you guys
okay.
get a follow up task. So have
Oh,
fun with that one. High
oh
bar
gosh.
there.
I hope we
Oh
can live up to
no.
it.
No, Task knows way more than me.
Yeah.
Task knows everything. I know
Yeah.
like 1% of the thing tasks know.
Yeah. So well, that's the bar that you guys are following. So
Oh God. Oh God.
yeah. Now it's funny because I haven't actually talked about the actor strike and writer strike. I talked a little bit about
Mhm.
the writer strike. I haven't talked about the actor strike literally at all since it's happened,
Mm.
and I've
Yeah.
recorded like multiple podcasts since that point because I I get scared to talk about it because I'm
Yeah.
worried I'm going to say something completely stupid and get in trouble. So
Yeah.
I was like, you know what the perfect time to do it is? Now, when I have two people to cover me if I say anything stupid. So,
Because we might say something stupid too, so we're all in this together.
Hey.
right,
High
exactly.
School Musical.
Great trilogy. And even better show, if we're being honest. The show is better than 3, if I'm being honest, but
I have not watched the show. I didn't know if I would like it, so I just never started it.
it's really good. I loved it. I mean, I'm also a
Okay.
High School Musical, like, fan, so like a super fan.
Okay.
So, yeah.
I was kind of, well, I don't know. I really like Zac Efron back in the day. So I think just liking Zac Efron made me a High School Musical fan for some reason. But yeah, I still sometimes sing those songs at work to strangers.
That's a very fair thing to do. I mean, it's still somehow my like in the shuffle of my playlist. So sometimes I just randomly hear a High School Musical song. I'm like, oh yay, I love that movie and or the trilogy, I guess. But so what is your view on the actor strike? Let's just go very broad, and you can tell us how the studios are bad and wrong.
Um. So here, we're very, we're very like far from, what everyone else is going through. I mean, I don't even know if we would call ourselves influencers. I don't even know if we would call ourselves journalists. We're mostly just doing this for fun, but um, I guess just we respect the strike and what they're trying to do. The outcome that they want is something that is within reach, and
Mm,
I don't think it's something that's far fetched. And I don't, I don't think that this is something that needs to go on for an extended period of time if the resources are, you know,
there.
if the resources are there, they're tangible. Just subtract some numbers here and add some numbers there. Um, People just want to make a living. I don't think
Hmm.
there's anything wrong with that. I mean, nobody should see anything wrong with that. And, I think we've been heading towards this collision for a long time. Because
Okay.
I think when Netflix started, we, even as consumers, didn't even know that we were going to get to this point. And the music industry had this exact same thing happen to them when Napster and LimeWire and all that stuff started getting big, and that
Oh
changed the
yeah.
entire industry. So why hasn't it gotten to the point where actors, actresses, producers, writers, all that jazz, why aren't they seeing the money that they're supposed to be seeing? So
And oh yeah. Well, I was gonna say, and I think to add on to that a little bit, I think the biggest thing, like I think the money is one aspect of this, right? And we can talk
mhm,
about, and we will talk about that. I think the more interesting aspect, if I'm being honest, because like the money thing, it happens. Money is always something people are going to fight about, whether people want more of it or whatever, right? And people want to keep money. There's only so much, right? So there's always going to be those issues. I think the more interesting conversation here is the AI part of this, right? And I
Oh
oh
yeah.
think,
yeah,
and I think about way back, which now if like doesn't seem like that long ago, but was actually so long ago, and was Rogue One. And the reason I bring up Rogue One is because what Rogue One did was not only did it bring an actor back to life with Grand Moff Tarkin, but it also
Yeah.
was the start of that de-aging kind of era with Princess Leia, right?
Mhm.
mhm,
And that was I guess you could call it the initial, like the start of what became a very common thing in Hollywood, to the point where actually when they announced the Harry Potter like remake, right?
mhm.
Mm.
I was talking to someone who was a Harry Potter fan, whatever, and they're like, "Oh, they should just use AI to revive Snape," and I'm like, "Okay." So this is the point we've gotten to in this conversation, right? And yeah, what do you guys think about that part of it?
Oh God.
It's meta. It's kind of like a hilarious meta in the sense that in the comic books, no one ever really dies, and now we've reached that
Mm.
part in the film industry where no one ever really dies. We can't have that. um, I, I, I mean, I think I can say that if they have permission from the families and the estates, then do what you will. But at the same time, there are thousands of people who were clawing their way into the industry
Mhm.
who would probably do a very good take on our beloved characters if we were give them that opportunity to do so.
Hmm.
It's a double-edged sword. AI is
Wait,
really cool.
wait. So you think that any actor that is dead, there is a new actor that's alive that could take the place of whatever uh character
Yeah,
they're playing,
yeah.
better
Because I
than
mean,
using AI.
yeah. I mean,
Okay.
the that's the whole point of people getting into the industry anyway. A lot of these people come into the industry because there are characters that they've loved for years, and they're hoping one day they'll get to play that character, voice that character, to
That's
some
interesting.
extent. So I think, like I said, it's like a double-edged sword. It's like on the one hand, AI is really cool, and yeah, you can bring somebody back to life, but on the other hand, we can pass that torch to somebody else. And I think it's more important to pass the torch because you want to continue to open doors, and
Mm.
you want different people at the table.
And
So
I think the other part of it, right? And you hear stories all the time where you have these people who, were not necessarily, I guess, brought up as actors, but ended up in a background scene, or was had a very minor role in a movie,
Mhm.
and they made an impression and then got another opportunity, right? Like you hear a lot of those stories,
yeah,
and again, I think money aside, because again, you could talk about money and all this other stuff, but when you talk about like the rise of an actor, there's a lot of times you hear these stories of people having to do this. Now, if you think about it again from that artificial intelligence perspective, right? If they do some of the things they're talking about, which are, replacing some of the background actors with AI, because you could just kind of essentially a hyper version of stock footage, right? Where you can
yeah,
just have the
yeah,
same kind of things over and over. You lose some of that as well, which I think ultimately does hurt the industry, because again, the reality is eventually everyone's going to die, and they're not going to be actors. And so do you really just want to say, okay, well, these are the actors now forever, and we're just going to keep bringing them back in different forms, because you don't have anyone coming into the industry either then.
Yeah, exactly. So the 5 people that are superstars right now will be the 5 same people in 20 years, you know? So it's weird. You don't want to keep seeing much respect, like so much respect for the people who are doing their thing, but like, come on. I mean, like, not, and I'm not saying it's entirely their fault for being so talented that we want to keep seeing them over and over again. Um,
Oh, Debbie.
but yeah, I mean, I know like there was a point where people were trying to get Sebastian Stan to do a young Luke Skywalker or something.
Oh yeah.
Like, that'd be cool. Like, let's see that. If we still really want to see more Luke Skywalker at this point, but yeah, like,
No.
I mean, I'm just being honest.
Man,
Yeah.
my spouse says the same thing. He's over all the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
He's over
Except
all.
Rey Skywalker. Rey Skywalker's okay. I'm good.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm still partial to Rey Palpatine. So I actually really wanted her to be evil, and that would have made it better for me.
They couldn't kill all the Skywalkers, right? Because that's like the whole point of Star Wars. For some reason, I don't know why, but you know, it's not really Star Wars unless Skywalker shows up. But yeah, I think I definitely think it's an interesting kind of dilemma, which
Yeah.
you know, you'd be surprised at the amount of pushback. Like, again, it doesn't feel like something that should be that fought against by the studios who actively benefit from working, living. I guess their idea is they just have to pay AI, right? So
Yeah. But then that's how we get to Skynet. That's how we get to the robot in iRobot. Like,
Age of Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron. Like, it's coming.
I mean, it is, and I think so. I think the other part of this, which you know is important to talk about, obviously, is the money part, and is the fact that you know you have people like Bob Iger, who I do and have said that I respect him as you know someone in this industry who has always seemed to be pro actor, right, and pro talent, pro writer, right. I think you know you look at his predecessor technically, but also his successor, you know, based on timing, which is Bob Chapek, who I've been very critical of since he came in, and granted in the middle of a pandemic, but he was very, you know, the Scarlett Johansson lawsuit, right? And all this other stuff. But now you have Bob Iger saying this stuff about they're unreasonable. And now, you know, on one hand, you're kind of like, again, as much as you don't like believe what he's saying, you are still thinking, okay, well, this guy who's always been pro, you know, actor and pro talent, what is he kind of like, what was the point of him saying that? Like, is there something to that, you think? Or do you think he's just saying stuff to protect himself?
I think it was a very like, I have a milkshake, you have a milkshake, but my straw reaches over into your milkshake. It was very like, I don't know. He's got some work to do on the inside, but not just him.
I actually didn't like read or hear everything that he said because I've been in the wind. What did he actually say?
So I can get the quote, but it basically said the actors are being unreasonable in their asks, and he said they're basically demanding too much, and I think that's what kind of pissed people off because obviously, you know, they're not asking, or in their minds they're not asking for too much, right? So
yeah. Well, I mean, at most of this argument is about streaming and about residuals, and that is something that we, like, even you said, like, it has been talked about for a very long time. And what was that interview with some actor when they were like, when movies came out, you got their big chunk of money, and then you get DVD sales, and then you get all of that. So it's like, now that we don't have that anymore, when you're buying movies on digital and all that stuff, like, it's not as much as what they were making, you know, 20 years ago with the DVD sales. So there is so much of that aspect of the industry that is part of the problem, is the streaming.
Mhm.
And just obviously, I know you probably both saw that clip of the girl from Orange is the New Black.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I think it was also that their streamers don't from from last I saw, they still don't really post their total earnings even,
Mm,
right? Or what
They don't
how
they
many.
post numbers, no numbers.
Yeah, they don't post numbers. So um I kind of feel like that's a weird kind of loophole to not have to pay people
yeah.
because nobody actually knows the numbers.
So
Yeah.
two things. First of all, I got the Bob Iger quote, and he said, "It's very disturbing to me. We've talked about disruptive forces on this business and all the challenges we're facing, the recovery from COVID, which is ongoing. It's not completely back. This is the worst time in the world to add to that disruption."
Mm,
And by that, and then he goes on to talk about how they're being unreasonable, and because he says they're being insensitive to the fact they're recovering from COVID. So that's what he said, and I think people got obviously very angry at that because I think they look at him getting paid more and more money. Granted, now the disclosure note here is he's actually being paid less than a lot of these other people in this, like significantly less. Like you look at David's
Oh yeah. David
oh,
Zaslav's is what, like almost 500 million?
like over the last 5 years, he's making 498 million.
Yeah.
Bob Iger is making 195 in the last 5 years. So again, I know we're talking about this like in the hundreds of millions of dollars, right? Which is crazy to talk about. Oh, that's not a lot. But I'm saying
Yeah.
compared to the people above him, the fact that he's not even making $200 million is something which at least is of note, right? Like,
Mhm.
very, very. I
and
agree.
and then to go back to the numbers thing, because I think that was a good point, which is you're like, I think the way the studios have done it, I think Bob Chapek's kind of situation with Scarlett Johansson was probably the thing we don't talk about enough when it comes to this, because
Mhm.
the whole dispute there was about being compensated. Because remember, you could find theatrical release numbers, right? You
Mhm.
go to Box Office Mojo or any number of box office sites, you could find those numbers. So think about it. You're just, we're just people here talking about it. The actors' agents can go on the website too and find those numbers, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like how we can't find the streaming numbers, they can't either. They rely on, here's this third party source telling us that this was reviewed this highly. So
Mhm.
why don't we have the money that we should probably get because it was viewed this highly, right?
Mhm.
Mm.
Yep.
The other part of it, I guess, to like, which makes it even worse, especially for something like Orange is the New Black, is these contracts signed so long ago before streaming was really like, a super popular thing. So
Yeah.
sometimes people, at that time, you can understand why people were like, maybe the streaming thing isn't really, I'd rather the the back ends than the streaming back ends, right?
Mhm.
Because obviously, I feel like it's gonna make more money there because you think even 5 years ago, streaming was not nearly as popular as it is now, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
That's all changed.
Yeah.
So people are getting screwed by old contracts too, along with the
Yeah.
fact that they're getting paid 95
Yeah.
cents when you star in a show. Like, that's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Because then you don't even think about the fact that if a whole series is now on a streaming platform, people aren't buying the box set or buying the season anymore on the physical copy. They're just streaming it on
Yeah.
their service.
Yeah.
And people will stream the same stuff over and over and over again. So
Me.
they should be, yeah.
Me.
And it's kind of, and I think writing is in the same tier,
Mm.
a little bit,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
a little bit different because you can argue, and again, there's like, if no matter how you say this is going to make people mad, but like there's always different, like studios always value different things more, and obviously compensation is going to be determined based on what they value more. I think at the end of the day, in a perfect world, everyone's valued equally. However, that's probably not the case in most businesses' minds. So I think they're going to have to come to a point, assuming because the students eventually going to stop making money because they're going to run out of things that they can release. But I think they're going to have to come to a point where they have to like decide, okay, what is the fair price?
Yeah.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he had said that they were still trying to bounce back from COVID. And my first thought was, if you're trying to bounce back from COVID, why I guess why not do more for smaller budget films rather than trying to release 250 million plus films, or $250 million plus films, and focusing more on smaller, original, new stuff, I guess, to try to build that back up if they're still trying to recoup from COVID, from the pandemic. I don't know. That was just my first thought, because now they've got
it's reward though,
apparently a
right?
huge loss from the last big movie that just came out.
Well, I think it's also about reward, right? Like it's
Mhm.
about, well, we're going to put in $250 million into this, but if it makes $1 billion, we're set, right? But if it,
Yeah.
like, you want as many big hits as possible, obviously, to make the most, like, because yeah, you a $10 million movie, that's great. It's probably not making more than, like, 20, 30, 40, 50 million, right?
Yeah.
So you look at, and when you think about, especially with theaters, you basically have to cut the number it makes box office wise in half, because the theaters obviously take half of that, right? And so then the studios only go back with like 25 million if it makes 50 million, right? If you spent 10 million on it, right? Then you're looking at nothing. And then if it makes $1 billion, you're going back with 500 million. When you get a box office, you still got 200 million left over, which is more than that small movie, which significantly overperformed.
Yeah.
That's the mindset. Again, you're
No,
probably
no,
right about it.
I totally get it. It was just, it was just the first thing I went to. It's like, if you're still trying to bounce back, why? I don't know. I guess it would seem like a sure thing at first. Me personally, I just haven't been interested in the bigger stuff that came out from Disney lately. But that's just me.
I think that a lot of people are in the same category, hence why it's
Yeah.
not making nearly as much money as one would expect. Now, I want to go back to that Bob Iger interview, because the other thing that he talked about was cutting budget for Star Wars and Marvel, and reducing the number of projects that at least Marvel's doing. Star Wars is doing like one project every 7 years at this point. We don't know when the next movie is going to come out for Star Wars, but right now, at least, we've got Marvel stuff that's arguably being super saturating the market, and he's saying let's cut back on that. Is that a smart move? Because you're obviously not everything you release is going to hit, but is he being too cautious and not willing to take the risk of some of these losses?
I love Marvel and I love Star Wars. I'm okay with cutting back, because I've gotten to the point where I can barely keep up myself. And I feel I'm not as excited as I used to be. So I feel like if they take a break, it'll allow them that headspace to figure out which fresh stories will get us to whatever end game is next, if that makes sense. But yeah, I'm for it.
So, yeah, what do you think, Stephanie?
Oh, well, I was gonna say the same thing. It's okay. So my biggest thing is with Marvel and Star Wars, and it's gonna sound insane, but I feel like it's all of these random websites that are just popping up out of nowhere. That's like, we have all the scoops. We know everything that's coming out. We're this and we're no that. And I think the scoopers and the drones that are overhead of sets just to see what they can see, just to get shot down. I know Kevin Feige's shooting those things down. So it's like, it's become a spectacle.
Oh yeah.
So I miss the days of, like, even going back to after the first Avengers came out, I was like, ooh, I don't know how they're gonna, like, what they're gonna do after this. And of course, you get like the Thanos teaser, but you're like, who the hell's Thanos? And I have to wait 9 years to find out who Thanos is. Like, that was basically what it's like. But that was fun for me as a watcher because I was like, yes, I don't read comics. Now I do. I didn't before. So before I was like, I don't know what's happening. Everything is amazing. Everything's great. And now it's like, since more people are in tune with the movies, which means they're in tune with the actors, which means they're in tune with the comics. There's Twitter discourse.
We know the actors' schedules now. Like,
yeah, it's like there's so much like what's the word? Access to the film industry that was never the way it used to be before. It's way too much access for us. And like, if I can go online and find out who's going to be the villain in a movie, then that means everybody can get online and find out who the villain is in the movie. So it's like the comic book Star Wars world has just kind of like oversaturated itself. And I think the breaks will help divvy some of that up. That's all I got.
So one could argue you're right, but one could argue you're exactly wrong. And what I mean by that is, one could argue if you have those longer breaks, right?
Mhm.
What are people who are very, very bored and are like, I'm waiting for the new thing to come out. Like, what am I supposed to do? Guess what they're going to do? They're going to just stand in front of a set, which, for, 3 days and wait for someone to walk out of the tent or the trailer and be like, oh my God, look, it's Robert Downey Jr. on the set of the Marvels. Is he returning? And then you're going to get people, not like, I mean, I would do this too when I see the picture, like 17 theories on how Robert Downey Jr. could return in the Marvels. Like, you're going to get more of that.
Yes.
I think for me, it's purely from like there used to be a time where I watched I thought a pretty wide genre of films, and it got to the point where it was just a comic book and Star Wars. So I think for me personally, I miss going to see, and I miss just seeing like different types of genres. And so I've I go to the movies, and in between the big, in between the comic book movies and the Star Wars, I still go to the movies. But I'm just saying, it's nice to have a break, because I get, we love this stuff. We get like really into it, so it's like, give me more.
Yeah.
It's an addiction.
So I'm going to say something which is really easy to disprove, and I'm sure one of you will disprove me on this, but I'm going to ask it anyways, essentially, which is, if you look at the way that things have trended and the way that people's attitudes toward physically going to a movie theater have trended post-COVID, do you think there is, or at least in the studio's mind, there is the same market for a movie, like going to a movie for a, let's say a B or C tier, not necessarily quality, but in budget or in popularity, whatever movie, than there is for those A tier blockbuster films? Like, do you think there is a worry, like, okay, well, maybe no one's going to go to the theater, especially for the theaters? Like, you think about it, like, if they don't have a superhero movie for 4 or 5 months, what if they are like, wait a second, we have to put in all these BC tier, like, budget movies. What are we, like, what if no one comes to watch that?
That is an excellent question. We got to give the small budget films a chance, though. Like, that's what I try to go see when I'm not going out to see my big budget films. Like, I'm going out to see the smaller budget films, which is, it feels like, I feel like they're in theaters, for a shorter period of time. I felt like shorter budget or small budget films were in theaters a little bit longer before. But maybe I'm just misremembering. But now I feel like when something comes out, I'm like, oh my God, I only have like 10 days to see this movie in theaters to like try to help support the people that. So the smaller budget films I have seen in theaters recently, I like to go to the movies on a weekday, like the first showing of the day. So I'm honestly like by myself most times. But when I don't go at that time, I do see people in the theater. It's never a lot. but there are usually, I mean, their numbers are from the bigger budget films, I would say.
Yeah.
So then I guess the other part of that question, right? And I can give this to Stephanie actually to answer, but the other part of this is like we've seen something like, and I know this is not at all a small budget movie, but we saw Top Gun Maverick
Sure did.
do really well. We
Sure
saw Minions 2 hit $1 billion, which I mean that's a kids movie, so there's a little bit of a thing there, but and it's also a meme movie, which actually ends up working out really well when it's a meme movie and a kids movie at the same time.
Yeah.
But we've seen movies like that do really well. I mean, it's not nearly in the same tier, but Everything Everywhere All at Once last year ended up, if you look at those end numbers, were at least decent again in terms of return on investment. I don't know if we could what we consider Avatar, but that did obviously Avatar 2, but that did really, really well.
Yeah, it did.
Do you think there is do you think there's a case there to be made, or do you think it is still a blockbuster run thing, especially when you're paying $17 whatever to watch a movie in theaters?
Oh man, I really don't. Like, I feel like okay, this is gonna sound really cheesy, but for me, Top Gun was like the good old American boy film. Came out Memorial Day weekend, right? And it was about, you know,
right before, I think,
the good guys and the bad guys, and it's Tom Cruise, and they had the nostalgia impact. They had Val Kilmer. It was like a big thing for what it was. And plus, wasn't that movie on hold for like 3 years because of COVID? So it had like that 3-year hype to get people ready for it, which I guess is like every other movie now. And then you mentioned Avatar. Again, Avatar had that huge 9 years?
Yeah.
I'm bad at math. It was a long time that people were like, yeah, Avatar 2. And then when the trailer, dead ass, when the first trailer for Avatar 2 came out, I was like, ooh, like I was really excited because I was like, yes, it's finally coming out. Like James Cameron finally caught up with the world, or the world caught up with James Cameron, or whatever. But I think those big, again, we use the word spectacles, those big films are still going to get people there. And even Super Mario Brothers made $1 billion.
Yeah, it was the other one. Yes.
Yeah. And I wasn't expecting that movie to make $1 billion at all. And I'm pretty sure, again, what happened with that was the Peaches song. So again, that was meme worthy. That was viral. And wasn't it #1 on the charts?
Yep.
I think so.
It's like all of those things, like you said, are factors into those big budget films, and that the ones that have the big anticipation and make a lot of money. And I think that all the smaller films, like even what's out, Insidious is doing pretty decent. And of course that has a tiny bit of you have the horror people who love horror, the people who love
horror in the summer.
yeah, the horror in the summer. The horror crowd, and then the fact that it's still a franchise. Insidious is technically a franchise now, so you get the nostalgia aspect as well. Like Patrick Wilson and the whole family is back for this one. It got people in the theater.
So this year, the top 5 movies worldwide box office are Super Mario Bros. With 1.3 billion, Guardians 3 with 843 million, Fast and the Furious 10 with 704 million, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse with 663 million, The Little Mermaid with 554 million.
Wow.
So that's the top 5.
Yeah.
And then 6, 7, 8 are Ant-Man Quantumania, John Wick 4, and Transformers, with 9 and 10 being Elemental and Indiana Jones.
Okay.
So so of those movies, all of them are based on either, Super Mario. I mean, again, I don't know what you call like a Mario, which is a nostalgia thing right? Like,
Yeah.
and a stacked cast, by the way, you know.
Yeah.
And so, you got Guardians, which is a franchise movie. You've got
Yeah.
Fast and Furious, which is a peak franchise movie in that sense. You've got
Peak.
Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, which I think was probably the furthest thing from a franchise movie, but also still, you know, Spider-Man.
Yes.
Then you have Ant-Man, The Little Mermaid, both of which are, you know, the exact thing we're talking about doing less of. Then you have John Wick, which is the fourth movie in a franchise.
Yes.
And then you have Transformers, which is, again, a franchise.
Yes.
And then 9, you have Elemental, which is probably the first fully original new thing. And that was considered by everyone, including the Pixar CEO, a failure. Although his reasoning for that was a little different than I think most people's.
Mm.
So what do you, so like, if you don't go to 9, and then obviously 10 after that's Indiana Jones, which is a franchise.
Yes.
So are
Wow.
like, are franchise movies not the only thing driving people to the theater right now?
I mean, they are. It seems like they are. From
Like
those numbers, it would seem like, yeah.
The small independent movies aren't doing that.
Well, we got to
I
do better
know.
then. We as an audience have to do better for
Yeah,
it.
I think at this point it's the audience. Like, and the audience is impacted by streaming. If everything's going to be readily available in their house, what, a month after it's in theaters, why are people going to the theater? And
that is the question.
Wasn't today the day The Flash is on digital?
Probably.
Oh, I'm not
that
sure.
today?
Yeah, it's today.
Right.
It's today.
Okay.
That what was, I mean, given the mess of that film, given the mess, that's a little bit understandable. But it's still a month. Was that a month? What month is this?
Yeah, I think it came out the 16th or something.
It's been
I think it came out June 16th.
Jesus, yes. And then I missed The Blackening, even near me. I missed it completely. I'm probably like 2 days away from never being able to see Asteroid City. And what's the other like not big thing in theaters right now?
Sound of Freedom's in theaters right now.
Sound of Freedom.
I don't want any part of that. I don't want any part of that. I can't. I don't want any part of that.
No Hard Feelings is still in some theaters.
Oh, right.
Yeah, but see, I didn't really have an interest in seeing that.
Oh, that was amazing. I love that one.
You liked it? Okay.
Yeah, but I mean, again, it's not typically the type of movie I watch in theaters, but I was like, this looks really fun. So, I don't know.
We've seen Joyride.
Joyride's the other one.
Yeah, I got a chance to see The Blackening. It was hilarious.
Man, you got me wanting to go see a movie tomorrow.
But I mean, me personally, I try to make it a point. Like, I know I'm giving a whole lot of energy to blockbusters, so I need to make sure that I'm giving the same energy to smaller budget films, because I know that I'm gonna get, I'm gonna have a good experience from it. Actually, one movie that I watched, I think it was in April. It was called Polite Society, and I absolutely loved it. So I don't know if am I allowed to even promote it? I don't know, but or like not to promote it, but like I just really enjoyed it, and it was and it's just like they come and go so quickly, but the blockbusters stay in there for like 4 months, I guess. But yeah.
So can I tell you another dirty little industry secret, which kind of is the reason that all this happens? And I'm sure you already know this, but I'll tell you. So, as someone who lives in Canada, and I was someone who's been very much one of the forefront promoters of CanCon and Canadian cinema and all this other stuff, right? So I talked to a director who just released a movie a few months ago called Simulant. Canadian director April Mullen starred Robbie Amell, so it's like Simu Liu was in it, so like it's a decent cast, maybe above that. And it was a great movie in my opinion, but but guess what? It got I think it was a 13-day release window in theaters. Okay. And so I was asking, I was like, so why is it getting such a limited release, considering it's, again, you got Simu Liu in it. Like, it's not a, a non-existent movie. And she was like, it's because it's not a big blockbuster. The theaters don't want to give screening rooms because there's only a set number of them to non-blockbusters. You don't want to give these movies run because if you don't fill up a theater every single time it plays, what's the point in doing it? You can't have something in the theater screening room, right, for 2 hours that has 7 people in it. If you can get something that has, 50, 60, 70 people in it, that's significantly better for the theaters, right? So it's also who the theaters want to let in versus the other people, right?
Yeah.
Like, what do you think the first movies were to get kicked out once Barbie and Oppenheimer open? It's not going to be Mission Impossible. I'll tell you that for a fact.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're right. You're completely right. Wow.
So that's the other thing. Yeah.
So then I guess is it as a filmmaker, does that mean as a filmmaker that you're forced to be in a line heading towards $1 million movies just because if you make a movie significantly, with a smaller budget, it's not going to get the runtime that you personally would like for it to have?
That is the dilemma.
Gosh.
Greta Gerwig says it as much. She said it a little bit differently, but she's like, look, I'm gonna make some bigger movies now, and I'm not. And I think some of that was preference, but some of that probably was economic. Like, she's gonna get paid a bag to make movies after Barbie comes out, and I think
that's true.
She can't turn that down. Like that's money. You can't just say, like, people always argue, oh, they turn it down, creative, whatever. These people, like, we see this, literally they're striking because they can't make a living. If you get the opportunity to make a franchise movie, except for in very few, unless it's like one of the very few exceptions in Hollywood, you have to take that opportunity because you don't get that kind of money every time you make, like, people don't understand that. Like, that kind of money is not a common thing. She's not going to go and make, hundreds of millions, tens of millions, hundreds of millions every single time she makes a movie. Like, we're seeing it now.
That's true. Because isn't that what happened with Christopher Nolan too? Like, that was how he ended up pretty much where he is now because he took Batman.
Yep. Batman gave him the license to do whatever the hell he wanted after. Yeah. And and again, Tarantino's another one who's been very, very lucky to be able to make movies, and literally mainly because he said, I'm making 9 or whatever. He's making his last movie now. He never had to do something. The most uncomfortable thing he had to do was split Kill Bill into 2 parts. That was the most uncomfortable thing he's ever had to do. And that's amazing. I mean, that's a dream, but it's not everyone's situation.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's wild.
Yeah. So, unless you guys have anything else to say on this topic, we've got some movie trivia.
Oh,
sure.
So, ready for movie trivia?
Yes.
So we're going to see if this works. I've actually never done it like this before.
Oh, cute.
Oh.
So we're going to see if this works and if you can so in theory, you're going to hear lines from movies and you're going to basically have to guess what movie they're from.
Yes. Okay.
I'm
pumped.
Some of these are easy. Some of these are hard. There's 10 of them. So, let's see.
Okay.
I love how this is just not going to work. This is going to...
Oh, no.
It's okay. We got backups. We got a backup video. So, because I figured it wasn't going to work. I've just got to make it work. How do you guys talk while I try to fix this? And then,
Word.
I can... and then I'll make it work.
Are there... Stephanie, what have you seen? Have you seen anything that I don't know about yet?
I don't think so. Let me check. I told you I missed Asteroid City.
I'm going to see it tomorrow.
Oh, you know what? I told you there is a little cinema that has the food court up top and the down below. Let me check their website, see what they have going on. But you know what I really want to start doing is I really want to start doing those things that are like, for 1 week, we're playing this movie. Like, I want to start going to those.
Yeah.
I'm actually furious that, I don't know if you did you see any theater doing a 30-year anniversary for Jurassic Park?
That's what I sent you today. There's a there's an open space. They're going to be playing Jurassic Park on a like a large LED indoor screen.
Oh,
And they're
okay.
going to be like serving drinks and snacks and stuff. I think we have to bring our own chairs though.
It's downloading.
Okay.
Oh wow, the little sidewalk cinema is actually playing Barbie this weekend. Wow.
Oh yeah, and I saw that too. That small. It looks like a lot of the smaller, I think, independent theater, or yeah, like those single screen theaters. I think are going to be playing. I guess Barbie. I think Barbie.
Oh
Is what I've
wow.
been seeing.
There's
So-
going to be a Bring It On is coming to the theater next week.
I would see. I feel like small theaters would probably be the solution to a lot of these problems. However, for various reasons, I think big theaters are also very good for business. So, there's no, So I think we should still go to big theaters. I had to just throw that in there. For
Nice.
various.
Do you have an independent theater near you that you go to?
No, I support my local Megalo theater chain.
Okay.
Wait, so
I-
what's the big theater chain in Canada?
Cineplex.
Oh, okay.
They are a monopoly, as we like to call them.
Don't they
wow.
own Regal?
We have no Regal, we have no AMC, we just have Cineplex and Cineplex only.
But don't they own? Or am I confusing?
They've
a
renamed
name?
everything to Cineplex. They had
Okay.
there used to be they are the only theater chain. I mean, there's Landmark and there's a few other ones, but
Mhm.
primarily speaking, they are the theater chain, and they've been doing a great job as the monopoly.
Okay.
Yeah. $17 to watch a movie, but they've been doing a great job. Okay.
That's why I go during the day, so I can try to catch those matinees.
Oh yeah.
Okay, ready? This is gonna work this time.
Okay.
Yay!
Want answers? I think I'm entitled. You
Right after I got here, I ordered.
Oh,
Mhm.
these go very fast.
Mhm.
So I'll play it again.
want answers? I think I'm entitled. You
Right
What's
You
that
want
one
me to
from? Just say it.
Stephanie, you got it?
No.
Oh, A Few Good Men.
There we go. By the way, my all-time favorite movie. So
Oh, really?
Plot
Yeah.
twist. I've never seen that movie.
what? No, that's not right.
Do
That's
I need to watch it like tomorrow?
we owned it on VHS, but okay.
We did? Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
okay. Ready for number 2?
yes.
Right after I got here, I ordered some spaghetti with marinara sauce. I'm looking for.
Marinara sauce.
Okay, I have 2 guesses, and I feel like I might be wrong on the first one. Stephanie, do you want to try?
I don't know what that is either.
Okay, is it Goodfellas?
Are you cheating?
No.
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
That's so funny. I watched that movie last year and I don't remember it at all.
I was trying to find the most obscure line from that movie,
Oh, really?
and I thought this would be it, but I guess not.
Angela, stop being so smart.
Okay, ready for 3?
Marinara sauce.
I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
This one, the line is not as important as the voice saying it.
Yeah, I know it. Stephanie, do you?
Can you
Know
can you
who
play
said-
it again, actually?
Okay.
Okay, I'll play it again.
I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
No,
It's-
I don't know what that is. Do you?
I know whose voice it is.
Whose voice is it?
Bruce Willis.
Nope.
No? Okay.
Nope.
To me, that sounded like LL Cool J.
Mm, Can't.
We're both wrong.
Yeah, you're both wrong.
Yes. both wrong.
What
Can
I
you play it one more time?
Is that,
Sorry.
did he say Luella?
It said Llewellyn Moth, right?
Yes.
Luella Moth?
I'm looking for Llewellyn Moss.
Moss.
Man,
I don't think I know. I feel like I do know, but I don't know.
It's Javier Bardem's voice.
Ah, okay.
oh man, is that from
No Country.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No Country. Yeah. That one I was because
No,
I was
that
trying.
was- Uh-huh.
If I let him talk for too long, you'd know who it is.
Yeah.
If I gave any iconic, like any relatively iconic lines, you would instantly know who it is. So the best thing I could do was like a little clip of his voice. But yeah, here's ready for number 4.
yes.
F.
Angela.
Stephanie.
Angela.
Stephanie.
Please tell me you
I'm-
know this one.
Is it Clueless?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe you're. Yeah. There's a few of these that are very blatantly obvious, but you know,
Okay.
they're. I basically just went through movies I liked, and I was like, okay, let's just find a line from here.
Good. That's cool.
Wait till they get a load of me.
Oh crap.
Man. I am just blanking. I feel like that's such a common phrase though.
It is.
Yeah, it is, but you know,
Can you play it one more time?
Wait till they get a load of me.
this was one of those ones where I had to absolutely not let the clip play the video because otherwise you would know instantly who it is. Their face is very recognizable.
Is it Jack Nicholson?
Yep. What movie?
Oh, is it The Departed?
Nope.
No? Wait.
Oh man.
I keep
See, I'm
thinking
happy.
it's
I'm happy. I will.
not it.
What
It's
year?
not Batman.
Do you know
No.
the year?
It's Batman.
Oh, it is
It was
Batman?
Batman. It was Batman.
Okay. I'm wearing a Batman sweater.
Yeah. It was this line or it was the let's get crazy line, and I was like that was gonna be too easy, so I
Yeah.
went with this one.
Frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Yep.
I have no idea.
Can you play that again?
Yep.
Me.
Frozen, hung, electrocuted, and burned.
Burned.
This was another one where I couldn't choose a line that was like too recognizable
Mhm.
because it would be too easy. So I kind of had to go to the depths of the movie to find a line.
The depths. I know. To me, it sounds like what's his name? Bill Murray. Does that sound like Bill Murray to you?
I don't know.
I can't tell you who it sounds like to me because I know the answer. But, you know.
Oh man. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
I
Well,
don't know. I don't think I know.
So if
I
it
mean,
is
I
Bill
prob-
Murray, what movie could it be? Let's put it like that. I'm not saying it is. I'm saying
I get-
you know,
okay,
to
I
guess, you
guess-
might as well.
Oh, Stephanie, what movie by Bill Murray?
he said, "Is he?" I'm sorry, because I feel like I have like way too much. I have too many questions. Is he saying I've been, or he's describing someone
Yes.
else?
So this is a middle
Okay.
of a list where he said I've been and then he said a few things. Then he said these three, and he's talking to a woman, and yeah, that's as much I'll tell you.
I know it's not Ghostbusters.
So
if it is Bill Murray, is it the most iconic Bill Murray movie? Is it Groundhog Day?
yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
It is. Because he's talking about how all the things he's done, as
Okay.
he's been going through this different, like the
Oh,
repeats of
that's
his life.
right.
Okay.
And so that's where that line comes from.
I need to see that movie as an adult.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen it since.
and burn.
The significance of the moth is changed.
My
Did you
first
say
guess
the
is
mouse or the moth?
Moth.
The
This one might be
significance
too
of the
easy,
moth
but
is tape.
is change.
Oh, is it the Mothman prophecy?
Executed and burned.
The significance of the moth is changed.
Is it Silence of the Lambs?
How are you
Ooh.
so good at this? Wait,
Damn,
wait,
sis.
I don't think this is some people. Who's saying it?
Isn't it? Is it Anthony Hopkins?
Yeah,
Okay.
you're too good at this.
Yes, you
Gretchen,
can play next time.
Gretchen, stop trying to make fetch happen.
Without your
I hope again. This is another one where it's like this is blatantly obvious, but
Mean Girls.
yes, that was.
without your space helmet, Dave.
2001: Space Odyssey.
No, stop doing that.
Angela.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Angela.
This is the easiest one. I expect you guys to both get it instantly.
This is my house. I have to defend it.
Is it Home Alone?
Yes, it is Home Alone.
Yeah, I'm so good at these games.
Okay, I want you to lose, so I'm gonna give. I have some more written down. I have the audio pulled up, but I want to stump you, so I'm going to give you some more of these.
Okay.
Hold on, we gotta pull up the list I wrote. Gotta find one that's very hard.
Okay.
What we've got here is a failure to communicate. And these are harder because the actors aren't saying them. I'm saying them.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny is what is that? Someone in our family quotes that all the time.
Our father.
Oh, that's right.
Or no, is it or mother? Maybe it's mother. I don't know.
Regardless, think about a movie which they would know.
What we have here is a failure to communicate. What we have here is a failure to communicate. What we have here.
I know it, but I don't know. I can't tell you. I can hear it, but I can't say it.
I know it's an old movie.
It came out in 1967. If
Old.
67.
Is it a Western?
No, it's a crime drama.
Crime
A
drama.
crime drama.
None of the top actors in this movie are alive still.
Oh wow.
None of the people in the top billed cast list on IMDb are. And the director's also dead.
Oh my gosh.
Wow, 1967 did a number on these people.
It won 4 Oscars. When it won 1 Oscar, it was nominated for 4. It had George Kennedy and Paul Newman in it.
George Kennedy.
Oh, is it odd? Is it Is that what it is? Odd Couple?
Nope.
No.
Nope.
No.
No.
Is it the quick? No, not quick. The hands.
The Hands?
You're close.
Sorry. In my head, I'm like hands. Okay.
You're close. Hands is right to some extent. It's something hand the main character's name.
Oh, Cool Hand Luke.
Yep. There we go. Lewis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Angela?
I can't think of the name of it.
It's another old. It came out before Cool Hand Luke.
Oh!
Wait.
Is this what I watch every year for Christmas?
I mean, it came out in 1942.
So, yes, the year you were born. Wait, what was the quote again?
It's a Wonderful Life?
No, it's not a wonderful.
Oh, it's not
a
that?
Wonderful Life.
Okay.
Lewis, I think this is the beginning of a beautiful friendship.
Lewis.
It's in black and white.
That
It's
old.
one of the, it's widely considered one of the greatest movies ever made.
It's not the
Gone
Gone
with the
with
Wind?
Wind. It's not that one.
Nope.
It's
Oh,
the
okay.
other one. With that man.
The other one?
Yeah, it's like when they talk about old movies, they're like, "This is the greatest film of all time."
Casablanca?
Yeah,
Yes.
that's the one.
Okay.
Yes.
Oh,
yes, yes.
man. I watched Casablanca, too.
Okay.
Okay, this is the last one. I want to be alone. There's no way you get this. I wouldn't have gotten this.
Yeah,
one, so.
that could be from anything.
Is that okay? This is gonna sound crazy. Was that by a woman?
I'm not sure.
Dang. It's not The Room by Tommy Wiseau, is it?
No.
Sorry.
I've actually never seen this movie before. Wow.
Oh, well then we can't do trivia on it.
It's Grand Hotel.
Grand Hotel?
Yeah, it came out in 1930 something.
Mm.
I didn't even know. Okay, this one's really easy.
Okay.
I See Dead People.
Do you want to say it?
No.
Oh, The Sixth Sense.
Yeah. There's no crying in baseball. Is that one gonna throw you for a loop? I don't know.
That's the girl movie with the thing.
Oh.
League of Their Own. Right? Or no? Am I wrong?
No, you're right.
Oh yes.
The most iconic movie. Oh, one of the most iconic lines for that movie too. Ooh, this one really fits the topic that we've been talking about. Greed, for lack of a better word, is good.
Oh man, that sounds so familiar.
It's in a movie with a guy who is in Ant-Man.
Okay, Wolf of Wall Street.
Oh,
Wall Street.
Wolf of-
Wall Street.
There we go.
Yeah, I said Wolf
There
of
we
Wall
go.
Street. I meant Wall Street.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Man, I really need to rewatch those films.
Yeah, there's a lot of movies which are like, wow, like, especially when I was going through this, I was like, I need to go watch movies, like go back and watch some movies, because there's some of these where I'm like, I remember when I read it, but before that, I'm like, I don't even know, but yeah. that's probably the last hard. I feel the need for speed. You know, I mean, if that was gonna throw you for a loop, probably won't. But you know,
Feel the need for speed.
we were talking about the sequel to this movie too. It's great.
Top Gun.
Oh, it's Top Gun.
Yeah.
Top Gun.
So with that being said, do you guys have? I like to keep to the hour, except for the times when I blow over that and I end up at 2 hours. But you know, for the most part, I like to keep to the hour.
Okay, sounds good.
So thank you guys for coming.
Thank
you for having us.
Yeah, this has been great.
I'll have to have you guys back again when I'm like, you know, lacking a co-host or when he just doesn't want to show up, you know. But I will because it was definitely fun to have you guys on.
Yeah.
Do you guys have anything else to say before you sign off?
Just thank you for having us. It's been real fun. I want to do this trivia again.
Yeah, this trivia is really fun.
I'm gonna make it harder next time you guys come because I know that there's.
Well, I mean, it's all her. She knew like 12 out of the 16, and I knew like 3. So
and there's so much, you know, until I went, I was like, oh wait, this is from this movie. I didn't even realize it. So you know, I guess you're really good at movie trivia. So
it's not even that I'm good at movie trivia. Well, actually, I'm not going to give away my secret. It's we're just.
I bet it's a photographic memory. That's normally the secrets. People are really good at remembering quotes.
If I do it, I don't think I have that.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's impressive then. Yeah, but thank you guys for coming on. It was great to have you guys to talk about all things strike related. Obviously, I think we all want that to get resolved soon because I like movies and I want them to make more movies where everyone's happy and getting what they deserve. And you know, at the end of the day, we got to support them until they get what they deserve, and we can see great movies on the screen again.
Yeah, that's true.
But yeah, and I'll put your Twitter and I don't know. Do you have other social media?
It's honestly just Twitter.
Just Twitter
and YouTube.
And YouTube.
Okay, yeah. I'll put the YouTube. I'll put the YouTube. I'll put the Twitter on the in the description of the.
One day we'll make a new video.
Maybe this will motivate you. This is the motivation, right?
Yeah.
But and then we can have you back on and harder movie trivia next time because you guys are really good at this. So, yeah, thank you guys for coming on and thank you everyone for watching. And I'll talk to everyone watching at some point, I'm sure. So, you know, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, share your thoughts, follow us on social media, do all that stuff that people tell you to do.
Yay!
See you all next time. Bye.
See ya.